I like to say seeing profoundly, not just that the hands are chafed or cold, but what causes people to have to do jobs where their bodies are hurt. When I saw those pictures of the miners coming out of the mine, I was excited that they were alive. But when I talked about it and taught about it afterwards, brought the newspaper picture with people emerging from the mine and being embraced by their family, I said, if you look at this, it's a picture of a family embracing someone whom they thought they might have lost, who was saved. But if you really look at the picture, you could think, why do we have people working a mile under the ground at a hazard to their life to accumulate, to harvest a fuel that is polluting the atmosphere? We could do other things. Why are we doing that? Why are we making these wars? Why are we hurting our hands? Why are we not sharing the resources of this world? Then we could really walk with our brothers in the shade, doing nothing. That really profound seeing would make a difference in the world. And it requires, I think, stopping all the activity. And we are incredibly busy. I heard on the radio the other day that email and the internet has become such a substantial problem in people's lives that it's soon to be, they're talking about making it a specific illness in the DSM manual of psychiatric illnesses, addiction to internet, because we spend so much time on it. And it has a kind of a pinball machine attraction. I can just do 3 more in 2 minutes. You stop and think it over. And, you know, not that I stop and think it over all the time, but there are times when I really think the world would be different. We are 5 years after shock and awe. I was in the gym on the days just when that began. Went to my gym in Santa Rosa and I was walking on a treadmill. And there were treadmills all around me and a great bank of televisions in front and people working out all over the place. And we're all watching CNN on all these screens. And suddenly I realized this is real time. We are watching people shooting each other in real time. I've never watched people shoot each other in real time. And we're all just walking on our treadmills. Why don't we get off? Why don't we shout or cry or fall on the floor or weep and wail or tear our clothes? Do something. Just keep on the treadmill. And there's something that, you know, something I think that if enough of us stopped and thought, said, wait a minute, there's got to be another way. There's a scene in the second of the trilogy of The Lord of the Rings where suddenly the king says, on hearing that his boundaries have been breached or he's going to be besieged, he says, "To arms." And everybody in the room leaps up and he says, "To the armory, get your arms." And then the scene switches to the armory and then there's a long scene with no talking, just loud music and men running through, picking up spears and all kinds of axes and all kinds of weaponry of this period. And I had the sudden thought that, you know, this is the story of mankind, to arms, and people, okay, to arms, and we'll do it. And I had the thought, just because they're picking up this ancient weaponry, that somebody in that file of people picking up could pick up a sword and say, you know, this would really make an excellent plowshare. You know, we could do something else with this. You know, we don't have to do that. So far, we're still doing that. So what are we doing here, and what's that going to be? How is that going to make a difference? In me, to the degree that I sit here and my mind gets quieter, You know, I don't sit with a mind that's completely free of thoughts. I sit here, and I'm pretty relaxed, and thoughts come in and thoughts go out. I don't fight with them so much. I feel myself here, feel myself breathing. I hear the sounds in the room. I'm a little bit tuned into what's going on here. And thoughts come and go. I don't actually do anything about them unless my mind attaches to one of them, unless my attention grabs one of them. They come and they go. They just do, just like an itch here and a tremble here. They're just, the thought machine keeps making thoughts. So it really isn't helpful to try to get rid of thoughts or to... I try not to have long stories. If I find I'm starting to tell a discursive long story that I've already told a few times, then I try to come back to my breath. But thoughts coming and going, they're not the enemy. They're what happens. Sometimes people, worry, but actually the time to worry is if the thoughts stopped. That would be a neurological problem. But we make thoughts. But as long as the thoughts are not, don't arouse the mind to grab it, deal with it, wrestle with it, then the mind sits pretty easy. If I sit here pretty easy, my mind relaxed. Jeff said this morning. He said the mind suddenly knows the answer to a problem. It didn't figure it out. It had a revelation. The mind relaxes, and suddenly, without thinking, what should I do about this? It says, oh, you could do this, or you could do that. And you don't have to be upset about it. Just do this or do that. Because I think it's an intuition. Like lots of people have said, I write poetry on retreat. I think it's the part of our brain, actually, that does intuitive things, that writes music or essays or poetry, that suddenly has a new understanding, puts the same facts of my life together in a new way. So, oh yeah, that's right. And then that problem that was formerly a problem tied in a knot unknots itself. It's not a problem. And then I find that I'm feeling more benevolent, and I'm enjoying feeling benevolent. I think about the things in my life. The mind becomes, I think, more forgiving. When we talk about the attributes of God, patient, forgiving. The mind becomes more forgiving. I think about somebody that maybe I don't have such a good feeling about, maybe something in my family or maybe something in my colleagues, something hasn't gone right. And if I'm thinking about, if they come up into my mind and my mind is relaxed, my mind tells a new story about them and says, well, that's just like so-and-so. They always do that. That's their way. So they don't become at that point my enemy. I am not the victim and they are not the villain. They're just like that. Everybody is just like that. What I like a lot is when my mind isn't finding fault. I feel better. It's just really relaxing to live in a world where everybody's just like that. Because I'm just like that, and I also can forgive myself a little bit for being just like that, whatever it is that I am. I'm just like that. I used to feel very badly about having what meditators call a fretful mind, a restless mind. There are different kinds of minds. Some people are habitual fretters. When in doubt, fret. And people tease about, they say, well, it's a Jewish gene. I don't think so. I've met plenty of Jews who aren't habitual fretters, and plenty of non-Jews who fret. But maybe it's in the DNA a little bit, but whatever it is, I have a mind that it has absolutely the ability to turn a practically neutral piece of news into a potential worry. And if I call one of my family and they're not home, all it means is they're not home. They could be any place in the world having a marvelous time. But, it's possible to think, why aren't they home, They should be home. It's 3:30 or it's 5:30 or it's 9:30 or it's whatever it is. They could be home. Where are they,